They have been so since, well, for the past, let's say, 5 years now. And then on top of that, with this COVID pandemic and all of the requirements that are being challenged, I think, in different districts relative to vaccinated versus unvaccinated people. And then folks are just getting back to school for the first time in like over 18 months. So I just think that there's a lot of craziness happening right now.
Yeah. And so if you're just joining us now, we are actually back live on the book Facebook Live. You know how they had that power outage? Yeah, we were just experienced our own power outage courtesy of Professor Kennedy. Thank you, Professor Kennedy, for calling me on my Facebook Messenger and just knocking us off the air. I'm being sarcastic, by the way.
You are being very sarcastic.
Yes, indeed. But he was attempting to reach out to me, so I have to learn to put my telephone, because it's connected to all my other camera apparatus, on Do Not Disturb, so those calls won't interrupt the broadcast. So, yes, I will get back to Professor Kennedy after the show. Mr. Kennedy! But it was his fault, y'all. So that's why we popped off. So you want to do your shout-outs again real quick to the folks that were tuned in?
Well, I have a new page now with the
You don't remember the names? I remember all the names that you said.
I can.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Okay.
We old, but we not that old.
We have Yolanda Burst, who was tuning in to the first hour of the show. She wants her 3 dings, please. She's saying very nicely, please.
There they go, Yolanda. 3 dings for you. And also, Yogi with 2 eyes was watching. A ding for her, and also for her daughter, Shay Skittles. So there you go. Also, Carla Foster, my big homie up there in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Thanks for tuning in. Also, our homeboy, Selvin Chambers, is watching. So what's up, Selvin? And also, Alan Merritt, our web designer. Yes, indeed. So
yes,
big things are going on.
Let's not forget AJ Lopez.
AJ Lopez,
our new production assistant here at Hull Bay Productions. Very excited to have him.
Yes, your new PA. All right. What's up, AJ?
Thank you for tuning in, AJ.
Yeah, I wonder if AJ knows that they had a song out with his name in it years ago. You remember that song, Tonya?
No.
AJ. You don't remember that song? AJ Scratch? You don't remember that song from back in the day? It used to be a breaker, Tonya.
Okay, that was like 40 years ago.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm just saying, but it's old school. We old up in here.
Okay.
Cutting and scratching. AJ,
yes, I do remember. But you were like a few years ago. I mean, that was like 40 years ago.
No, I said back in the day. Back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Old school. I'm just saying. I said that because our guest can relate to that, because he old school too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yes,
and we're not even, like I said, we're not going to talk about his NBA prowess. We're not going to talk about that part of his career. We're going to talk about some other stuff, because he's a traveled man up in here. He's a Renaissance man. Yes, indeed. He likes the finer things in life, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so Tonya, you want to go ahead and kick off segment number 2, and hopefully we'll get to the power news, because there are some important things that are happening in the news, but our guest is a little bit more important right about now. We want to make sure that we respect his time. He's taken time away from his busy schedule to be with us today, but we definitely, in speaking to him last week, I just knew that we had to have him on to share his story, man, because this is something that's becoming more prevalent, you know, in these United States of America, you know, and if we don't speak out about it or put it out there and let people know, we're not going to be able to have any kind of change, and it's just going to continue to go on and on and on. So, Tonya, I'm going to let you do what you like to do, your introductions.
So this past August, Greg Smith, a clinical director in North Carolina, traveled to St. Louis, Missouri on his way to a medical conference, but instead ended up handcuffed to a chair in a police department for what he still doesn't know. His story in his own words, and we're just going to dive right into it. And you want to pay close attention to it. Greg Smith, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate you guys bringing me on. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
So as Ray alluded to, we're hearing more and more about these stories, but we want you to tell your story in your words. So You landed in St. Louis, and you are traveling, I assume, on your way to the hotel or to the conference or both or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened?
Yeah, that's correct. I actually, the flight landed at approximately 10 after midnight. And I headed over to pick up the rental car from Enterprise. And once doing that, headed onto the highway to get to my destination to check in the hotel. And by the time I had done all that, it's approximately 12:45, 12:50 in the morning. And while traveling down a dark 2-lane highway, I actually noticed approximately 50 yards ahead of me a highway patrol vehicle parked on the very lip of the highway, which I thought to be quite dangerous and very irresponsible of that officer. And so I made sure that I was able to have clearance to proceed to the next lane over to the left. And I did that and blinkered over, and eventually I passed that particular cruiser. And I was traveling at 65 miles an hour. The speed limit was 70 as it is in North Carolina. And then after passing that vehicle, I blinkered and went back to my right lane and continued on my journey there. And I was not the only vehicle on the highway. And I noticed that approximately 10 seconds or so later, I glanced up into my rear view, and I noticed the cruiser drive back onto the highway. And that cruiser went up to one vehicle and then up to another vehicle, and eventually found itself behind me, approximately 4 car lengths behind me, 3 to 4. And another 10, 15 seconds, put lights on. I thought that to be interesting, as I said to myself. Now, I have no criminal record. There are no wants and warrants. I'm not speeding or driving erratic or reckless to attract attention to myself. Why on earth do I have lights on the back of me from the cruiser? And at that time of the morning, you certainly need a witness. So I dialed 911. All 911 calls, of course, are being recorded. So I needed that witness on the line. And I explained to the dispatcher where I was in terms of which highway route and the exit I was going to take, that I was exiting off on, exit 20 there. And I did that, and as I continued the conversation within that 15 to 30 second period, the officer was at my passenger window. He, of course, hears the conversation that I have with the dispatch going on for 911. And as he looked into the vehicle, there was not the conversation that, quite frankly, I, as an administrator and as a clinical director, would certainly have thought that would have been his behavior in terms of, good morning, sir, dark highway, just wanted to make sure that you didn't need any help. My job, of course, is to protect and serve. By the way, my name is Officer so-and-so, and I'm pulling you over for this. No, it did not occur that way. His immediate conversation was, and I have to kind of apologize for saying it in the way in which I'm going to say it, but this is exactly how he delivered it to me. Give me your driver's license.
Oh, wow.
At that moment, I asked the dispatch if she could hear the entire conversation of the encounter. And she says, yes, I hear it loud and clearly, and of course, as did he. So I explained to her that, as well as to he himself, to him, I said, my hands are on the steering column. My driver's license is in my pants pocket. He then, at that point, with his hands on his gun, says to me, well, go on, take your hands off that steering wheel. Go on down to your waist and get in your pocket and give me that driver's license. At that point, I felt my life being threatened and my safety was not very secure. So I said to the 911 dispatch, I don't feel very comfortable. I feel like I'm being threatened here. And at this point, I'm respectfully requesting a supervisor on site. One of the things that most motorists don't know, and certainly should know, and I'm hoping certainly your listeners are paying attention, is if your life ever feels being threatened to you by law enforcement, or you feel like your safety is uncertain, you have the legal right to request a supervisor on site. Well, this particular officer did not like the fact that I requested a supervisor on site. He then began to threaten me. Get your hands down and get the license from me. I'm going to pepper spray you and the other cruisers have gotten here. We're going to come around and physically drag you out of this vehicle. I'm going to pepper spray you. We're going to physically go through your belongings and take your driver's license. Now, get me that driver's license. And so at this point, I had to make sure I remained composed and keep my voice low, like this is typically how I speak anyway. And I told the dispatch I feel my life is being threatened. My safety and security is compromised, and I will not move my hands from the steering column until a supervisor arrives on site. So this officer threatened me 6 times within that 5-minute period to pepper spray me, physical violence. Now I have 5 police cars behind me, and I have 5 white male police officers there. This particular verbally abusive officer came around to my driver's door, opened up my door wide, and now I have 3 of them immediately to my left within a good foot distance, and 1 officer at the driver's nose of the vehicle. And at that moment, I guess within 3 seconds, another individual came running up to my passenger door, and he identified himself as the supervisor. His words were, "Sir, I'm the supervisor. And I said, well, then you've heard the physical threats and pepper spraying threats. And I explained, I practice medicine. I'm here from out of state traveling, and I'm heading to a medical conference. And this is how I'm treated. At that point, he then said, well, sir, all I need you to do at this moment is to go ahead and comply. And so I made it a point to make sure that dispatch hears every single motion of movement that I'm making. So at that point, I said, I told the officer, I said, as long as you're the supervisor and you're witnessing, he bent over, he bent over, showing his shoulder in the patch of supervising. And at that point is when I explained that I was lowering my right hand from the steering column slowly with the telephone, and I was going to actually place my telephone on the seat. I then was going to lower slowly my left hand from the steering column, and then I was going to slowly exit the vehicle. Upon exiting the vehicle, now I'm shoved up against the vehicle. You're under arrest! And slamming handcuffs and kicking my legs open and patting me down. And of course, you and the listeners would ask the question, why on earth is all this happening? There's no crime committed. There's no law broken. So why am I experiencing this type of encounter? To fast forward, I end up being taken to the police station, which is a jail. And at that point, I still have no clue as to why I'm pulled over and why I'm handcuffed and all
Aren't
of
they
this.
supposed to give you a reason as to why you're being...
Yes, as a matter of fact, as I mentioned, you would ask yourself, why is this happening?
Right.
Because there's no crime committed, nor is there a law broken. His job should have been, as I mentioned from the very top, good morning, sir. It's a dark highway, just wanted to check in on you, make sure you didn't need any help. My job, of course, is to protect and serve. And by the way, my name is Officer So-and-so, and I pulled you over for this particular reason. None of that happened. So at the police station, now I am being fingerprinted. Pictures are taken, turn left, turn right. You would think, my gosh, I just attempted to rob the First National Bank, or I attempted to assassinate the President of the United States. Of course, none of those things occurred. And they had me sit down, handcuffed. The handcuffs were extremely tight. The pain was excruciating. My hands were numb. I shared that while on the outside of the vehicle when they shoved me up against the vehicle and put handcuffs on and yell, I'm under arrest. Why am I under arrest? And then there's not an answer. So then the particular arresting officer, sat down next to me at the computer, and he says, you're driving 58 miles an hour on the highway. Now, mind you, I know all my rights as a motorist. So my inside voice is saying, are you kidding me? How incorrect can you be? Because the minimum speed limit on the highway in most states and cities is actually 35, 40, with your flashers on, driving on the right lane of the highway. That was my inner voice. And I said, well, that's incorrect, because I was traveling at 65 miles an hour. And the speed limit is 70, as it is in North Carolina. That particular officer then stood up and took 2 steps away from the desk and from me. He's approximately 6 feet away from me. Now he's having a conversation with the desk sergeant, who's a bit livid with him and his behavior. And so the desk sergeant then says to him, well, why are you bringing him in? He says, citation. So the desk sergeant says, and just like this, citation? You can't bring someone in on a citation. That's not enough to arrest someone and bring them on a citation. No, we're not bringing him on a citation. So, mind you, this conversation is 6 feet away from me, as if I'm like not there. And so then the offending officer then says, as he stumbles for approximately 6 to 8 seconds, well, resisting. I said, well, again, that is a bold-faced lie. There was never any resisting. At that point, the officer walked away, and the desk sergeant asked if I had any questions of him. I then said, yes, I want his name and his badge and number. So then the desk sergeant says, I can't even fix this now because of how he put this in the computer. You're going to have to bond yourself out. My response is, bond myself out. My question is, why am I even here? Why am I here? Well, because of how you wrote it up in the computer. You're going to have to bond yourself out, and that will cost you $1,040. Mind you, luckily I had my Visa card on me, and I had to provide that. And at that point, they charged my account and then told me that you're going to be released. And I, at that point, asked, and I told the desk sergeant, again, I have no clue as to why I'm here, and you're telling me I have to bond myself out. And he then said, because I asked where my vehicle was, and he says, sir, we've ran everything on you and you're squeaky clean. Well, now my inner voice says to me, yeah, you seem surprised at that. Why? Because my skin color looks like this? I should have a long criminal record of some sort?
Long rap sheet.
Yes, sir. So mind you now, that's my inner voice talking. So my outer voice says, yeah, I practice medicine. I'm here from out of state traveling. I'm heading to the same thing I said to the supervising person. And he at that point said, well, we're going to release you now. I asked where the vehicle was. Oh, mind you, let me back up for just a fraction of a second there. When they were having a conversation in front of me, and the guy starts to walk away, I asked why the handcuffs were on so tight, because the pain was excruciating. My wrist and my hands were numb. And the desk sergeant asked me, sir, can you stand? And so he politely helps me stand. It's difficult to stand when you're seated with handcuffs on and you're sitting on those handcuffs. So I stand up. He asked me to turn around. I did that. He says, oh my gosh, you're right. These are entirely too tight. And he did not loosen them. He took them off. And so moving forward again here, when I asked about the vehicle that I was driving, it's not my it's my responsibility, although it doesn't belong to me. It's a rental. I need to know where the vehicle is. So that desk sergeant said they parked it in what's called a quick stop, which is like the kangaroo stations in North Carolina, certainly in Fayetteville. And he says there's 2 numbers on the wall there. If you call, a taxi cab will come and pick you up and take you there. Now, one would say this. The right thing to do would have been for the police to take me back to the vehicle. Well, of course, no, that did not happen. And so, I call the numbers. You don't really get an opportunity to speak with a live person. It's a voice prompt asking for name and location. That was given. Now, fast forward, an hour and a half later, I'm still in the building here. No taxi has come. Now, the company called back 5 times, and the voice prompt stated that it was still attempting to find a driver to pick me up from that current location. At that point, I went back up on the 2nd floor where I was, and I asked at the window where the vehicle was, and I told that particular officer, because the desk sergeant had stepped away, I said, if it took them 15 minutes to drive me from the location where the vehicle was to here, I'll just walk. But I need to know where that vehicle is. It's my responsibility. So he gave me the go out of the building, turn left, go down this way, turn right kind of thing. And so I told him before leaving, my concern is me being a man of color, walking through your neighborhoods here, which appeared to be, as I saw, even though it was late, I was more concerned of it being just a totally white neighborhood, and they'd call the police again, it would be escalated again. But I knew at that point I needed to get to the vehicle. If I can get to the vehicle, I can get inside, I can find safety. And I know this is a long story, give me 2 more minutes of an engagement and I'll wrap it up for you. But so I continued on my walk, and the first mile and a half, I came to the first gas station. I asked the attendant there the vehicle, and she says, no, sir, no vehicle by that description was parked here, and no one has called for a tow truck. And she went to the computer. She said, let me look for the next gas station. And she said the next gas station is 2.3 miles, and the one following that is 3.5 miles. She said that it can't be the first one because your description of what they gave you is a very small little gas station. This one has to be one like this, large station. So I went on my journey, and it took 6 miles of walking in the dead of night. Yes, ma'am. In the dead of night. This is not like a lit city. It was more like a town, if you will. And so, fortunately, my cell phone has a flashlight on it, as most do, and I had to use that to make sure drivers, vehicles going by would see me walking on the side of the road. And then, of course, I couldn't really see 30 feet ahead of me. It's very, very dark. So it took about 2 hours of walking. Eventually, I did make it to the vehicle, that gas station where it was parked, and from there into the emergency room. And so x-rays had to be taken and the exam and the like, because the pain was excruciating. And to this very day, my wrists and my hands hurt tremendously, as do both shoulders. And I actually have physical therapy coming up here in the next week, and an MRI is going to be done on this coming Saturday. So that was a very terrifying and horrifying experience, an encounter for anyone to actually have. I knew that during the course of the encounter while in the car, the vehicle, and when they came over and pulled the door open, as they did with Susan Bland, and wanted to physically accost her, I knew at that point that I had to say to myself, what's the next play? What's the plan here? You must stay composed, try to comply, and live to fight another day. Well, audience, this day is that another day. So I've been in touch with the president of the NAACP. I've been on 2 other interviews, 1 TV, 2 radio. And I really appreciate you guys having me on to share this story. Because at this point, as I've told the president of the NAACP and the other activists who are anchors on their shows, that this is bigger than me. I have to use my title and my platform and my voice to be the voice for those voices that are not being heard. It's a responsibility and obligation, and that's my pursuit. Justice for all those other individuals.
You know, Greg, this incident could have went wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
So many different times during this story, and I thank you for really giving us all these details, because I think it's important that people hear this and understand, the very legal steps that you took in trying to not escalate the situation, but also to stand for what your rights are as a motorist, as a human being.
Yes.
But it kind of frightens me that there's so many places where this could have went so wrong, whether it was when this officer first pulled you over and came up to the car, or you walking those 6 miles in the dark, trying to find your card. At any point, were you in a position to, and I know it was in the middle of the night, so obviously there weren't a lot of people up and around, Were you able to contact anyone from the conference to say, hey, this is what happened to me? Did you have any kind of, experience like this? Were you able to talk to anybody from the conference?
I did. I actually called, and while at that moment in time I was not able to reach a couple of colleagues, I ended up leaving messages for them. And of course I ended up contacting an attorney and we're suing them, but still, just to write on the point that you just made, they could have actually killed me on the side of the highway.
Definitely.
And now I am another hashtag, another picture on a t-shirt, and sparking another protest movement, march. So when I think about all of that, and I think of Eric Garner, and I think of Freddie Gray, and I think of Susan Bland, and I think of George Floyd, but the list goes on, of all the individuals who had similar experiences and yet did not get to live to be able to tell the true story of what really happened. I have an obligation and responsibility to be their voice. But yes, I did
and I
leave messages.
And I agree with that too, because I think, unfortunately, the difference between you and the Eric Gardners and the others that we have heard, just the endless, countless number of black and brown men, is that you are older, you are a professional, you established where you were going, and not that is no reason why this should happen to anyone. But I do believe that was the difference. I think that if your circumstances were different, I don't think we would be talking to you today.
And you are
I
so
think
correct.
that's the sad, such a sad testament and that's what I get angry about.
Yeah.
Because
it's true.
So speak to
true.
that a little bit, because I'm pretty sure that this went through your mind through all of this.
Oh, absolutely. It's very evident that had I taken my hands off of the steering column, took my hands down to my waist, and then go into my pocket, with this guy and his hands on the gun, he would have killed me and then lied about it.
You could have even said like one wrong thing, like like raise your voice a certain way, or like said something a certain way, and
So as he's yelling, and I mean he's yelling and barking and trying to be intimidating and trying to bait me into making those movements, I was not going to make a move, and my voice was going to remain here at this tone and this level, because it's important to live to fight another day.
And through the entire process, he never Mirandized you either.
No, sir. Not at all.
Just you're under arrest, and that
Just
was
you're
it.
under arrest, and that's it.
I even think that was
Wow.
That's
like the way it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Too familiar with what's going on anymore.
True. Very true.
You mentioned that you did contact an attorney, and so where are things now in your situation, in your case? Where does the status? What's the status of your case?
I spoke with the attorney. Today is Wednesday. On Friday, he says to me that he searched through the archives of court and everything, and they had not submitted the ticket. I said, well, then why do I have a November 16th court date? He says it isn't that they won't. And I told him, I said, here's what I see happening. They're trying to get their 5 police officers on the same page of telling their own story. They'll attempt to use negative talking points to create a negative narrative. They're also attempting, now this is just my assessment and observation of what I suspect is happening. They're trying to get that desk sergeant to also go along with them. Now, mind you, I've been a clinical director and an administrator for years. Now, what should the supervisor that came on site, what should he have done? He should have said, okay, what crime is committed and what law is broken? And when the answer is nothing, no, nothing, he should have said, get these handcuffs off of this person. Sir, please accept my sincerest apologies. Let's get you on your way to your conference. We really apologize. That did not happen. What should the desk sergeant have done? The exact same thing, because he was upset with that police officer for one, bringing me in, 2, arresting me, and then lying twice in front of me within that 5 to 10 1-minute period of saying, first he's driving at 58 miles an hour on the highway. That sounds absurd. Then to say, well, that's not going to be something that I can bring him in on, because again, the desk sergeant is saying that's not enough. You can't arrest someone and bring them in for a citation. Then for him to lie and say resisting arrest, and standing right in front of me to say this in this conversation as if I'm not there. So again, this kind of thing is happening so often, so frequently, and there's so many cases that we are unaware of. And fortunately, I have a title and a platform and a voice, and I'm going to use them, because we need justice for all those individuals who are experiencing these type of encounters. And if you look
at any point, did they offer, or were you reluctant to ask for a ride to your vehicle?
Right.
No, ma'am. No one ever offered that. And I'm speaking and made two particular points of where's the vehicle that I was in. I need to get to that vehicle. That in itself should be enough for the desk sergeant to say, we need to just take you to the vehicle. So it was not offered. Just me speaking that way regarding the vehicle was enough for them to say, we need to do the right thing. One, drop this foolishness and then take you right back to your vehicle so you can go on your way heading to your conference. Didn't happen.
I felt like they were set up at the end of the road. Like you said, they were parked adjacent. So was this before George Floyd? Maybe after the incident?
No, this was last month.
Oh, wow.
This is very recent.
Yeah.
This is very recent.
Wow.
And to this day, I can't find the reasonable, logical explanation for pulling my vehicle over.
Right.
And then once he looked into the vehicle and then he saw this person of color, the attitude, the behavior, the mentality was that of what you saw with Derek Chauvin with the George Floyd case, with the fellow with Susan Bland's case. You saw the same thing. He was upset, quite frankly, that I requested a supervisor on site, and in his mind's eye, it was, you are challenging my authority. I have a gun and a badge. You better do this, or I'm going to do that to you. And that was the encounter.
It sounds like a lot like the Philando Castile case.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what it sounds like to me.
So this is happening too often, and we have to bring this to light, as you guys are allowing me to do here on the show, and I really appreciate you guys allowing me to share the story with your listeners.
Yeah,
So I have a comment.
Speechless, and
so let me go ahead and read this comment real quick from Alan Merritt. Hang on one moment so I can pop it up on the screen. He says it makes him want to get a tracker like Tile or Apple AirTag and leave it on the armrest or glove compartment to track my vehicle on my phone for situations like this, or if the car is stolen.
Sure.
And it's even sad that in a time like this that you have to think about things like that.
Right.
But then even just the whole process of being a person of color and going for a conference, none of that is even on your mind. You're getting ready to go to your hotel and you're profiled at the wee hours of the morning.
Yes.
And then you just have to think, well, how is he able to see into your vehicle and to know? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, when is enough going to be enough? I
True.
mean, we see this happening to people of color all the time.
And you know what I tell people, because being an activist, and I've been an activist for a little while now, a number of years, I always tell people, and I didn't get to do the latter things that I wanted to do, was if you ever encounter law enforcement, there are a sequence of things you need to do within that 60-second period before they even come to your vehicle. Obviously, first is getting your driver's license and registration out, putting it on your dash. Second is getting on your phone and calling a family member or a friend so it's being witnessed. You then conference that call with 911. It's also being witnessed and it is being recorded. And at that point, you then put your telephone on Facebook Live so it's streaming exactly what's happening at that very moment. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to do that sequence because the guy's right at my window as
Right.
I'm speaking with the 911 dispatcher. But that's something that your viewing audience, your listening audience, needs to certainly keep in mind and always prepare themselves for. It's sort of like, and this is sad too, that we have to have that talk with our kids just to make sure they get home.
Right.
So we have to educate the public at large with our communities of color to do those particular sequences so that you are being you're having some sort of or some sense of security, because they still, I mean, you looked at the George Floyd case, and even though all those people were recording and they were telling him we're streaming this live right now, he still didn't care because all he saw was a person of color. And I can hide behind qualified immunity, kill this individual, and not be held accountable, liable, or sued. And that's why we see this.
Plausible deniability, all those things.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, I think that your tips or, you know, just the sequence of events that you have the right to do, but also know that, you know, when an officer at night comes up to your car, he's already escalated.
Yes.
He's already at a, it's either going to be you or me. That's how they walk up to the,
Yes.
and Ray and I both know officers, and we know that this is the feeling that they're going into the situation
Right.
before they even know
Before they
who's
even-
in the
yes.
car. But, you know, again, I just to reiterate, I mean, I really feel like this would have been a very different story had you been 20, 30 years younger and just kind of been in casual attire or what have you. I think this would have been a very different outcome. And so I'm just so thankful that you were here to be able to share your story. I hope you continue to do so,
Yes.
because I think it's important that people hear that it's, you know, we got one win with Derek Chauvin in the George Floyd case, but this is still happening.
Yes.
This is still happening.
And
this just happened in August.
And
So
just
this
think,
is still happening.
yes, ma'am, and just think, had I not dialed 911 and had them on the line as a witness, I in all likelihood would not be sitting here having this discussion with you.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
As soon as you
Now, I assume that your attorney is going to be able to ask for that 911 recording.
Oh, yes. We're actually in the pursuit of actually not only getting the 911 call. Like what I told the attorney is what I need, and I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. And this is how I said it to him. But we need the 911 call. That's a witness. We need the camcorders. I said none of the 5 officers actually had body cams on. He said to me, this state doesn't mandate that, but they're supposed to have camcorders on the vehicles. So I said, we need the vehicles camcorders. Of course, we need the video footage from when they were bringing me through the garage. We need the video footage from the intake room at the front desk. And so he's in the process of retrieving all of this information so as to move forward with his responses. Of course, they're going to want to settle this quickly and get rid of this, because I said, this is more than just about dropping the lies that they said in terms of resisting arrest or driving 58 miles an hour on the highway. No, there's mental duress. There's all this stuff. There's court costs, attorney's fees. The only way to actually hold law enforcement accountable is to hit them with their budget. You have to hit them in the pockets. And now some might say to me, well, Smith, it might be a little extreme to dismantle the police and defund them. No, I'm a strong proponent of defunding the police and dismantling the police. Now, no one would argue or debate the issue that every county in the United States, every city, every state needs to have policing, but you have to change the culture. And the culture is up at the top. And if you continue to leave things as they are, we're going to continue to hear the same song and watch the same movie. So you have to defund them, redirect financial resources, and you have to dismantle them. because we all know, or at least most of us, that from the mayor you have your safety director. From the safety director is where you have your police commissioner, then your police chief, and going on down, major, lieutenant, desk sergeant, etc., etc. You have to start at the top. The only reason these patrol officers do what they do is because it's encouraged and supported by those at the top. You must change the police culture.
Make sure you get them for pain and suffering too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that can be very traumatic.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think people realize that part.
Yes,
That can
we've
be
had that
very,
discussion
very
as well. I'm
traumatic.
sorry I didn't throw that in there, but yes, there are a series of things that I'm wanting the suit to
And then
cover.
especially with your expertise as well too. I mean,
Absolutely.
you're talking about handcuffs on your hands,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
are an integral part of what it is that you do.
Yes,
You know.
you're so right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Man.
On the note.
Well,
on the note.
Well,
of-
this is just chilling. And again, I want to thank you for coming on this platform to share this harrowing experience. And I hope that you continue to share it. That people really understand that this needs to. That this story needs to be told. It's a wake-up call, because I think that what we do is we become desensitized when
Yes.
it's not in our
When
face
it's
all
not in
the
your-
time, without
that's right.
understanding that this is still happening
Yes.
all the time.
Well, it's currently in 6 newspapers, and I have Roland Martin's program director has contacted me, and she tells me at the time of the conversation last week, she says, I'm getting ready to go on set, but I want to pursue this aggressively with you, as did the
NAACP.
NAACP's president of North Carolina and Missouri, and several other TV anchors and 2 journalists.
Well, you're on the big station too now.
There you go.
BroncoRadio.com here at
And
Fayetteville
now
State
I'm on
University.
with you guys.
Global, man.
Absolutely. There you go. I love that.
It don't get no bigger than us.
That's it. Nice. And I really appreciate you guys allowing me on to share the encounter, because we do have to get the messages out and make everyone aware that this is happening, and more often than we know of.
Every day, yeah.
every day.
And they didn't care that I practiced medicine. They didn't care.
They only care about their skin color,
My
yeah.
3 college degrees doesn't matter. None of that matters. They saw my skin color. So we have to make it a point to bring this to everyone's attention, because I'm planning to have this going viral across the United States to ACLU, to Sharpton, to Crump, to everyone else who actually supports and protects the citizens' civil liberties.
As you
It's
should.
very important, and as I should. Yes.
I think you're on the right station too here in HBCU.
Yes.
You know, you're teaching us
Yes.
all these sequences that we
Yeah.
need to know when we encounter police officers. So
I have to plug in HBCUs too, because I actually have a BS in organizational business management from Wilberforce University. So I've attended 5 universities, but I always said if I had the opportunity to attend a black university, even if it was to take a phys ed class, I was going to do that. That was a wonderful experience. So I have to plug in our HBCUs.
Okay, Wilberforce.
There you go.
Not the Broncos, but I mean, okay, Wilberforce. No, just kidding. Yeah, so, man, thank you for definitely coming on and sharing. I know we had a long conversation about this, just 2 men of color.
Yes, sir.
Talking about it, because these are some of the thought processes that we have to go through whenever we're pulled over, even if it's for a traffic violation or whatever. You never really know.
Right. That's right.
Am I going to make it home tonight?
Am I gonna make it home
Those
tonight?
thoughts actually run through your mind, and it
Yes.
becomes the norm.
Yes.
It should be abnormal. It should just
Correct.
be, okay, officer, here's my license and registration.
Right.
And, cite you, and
Sure.
you shouldn't have any concerns about that. But that is definitely not the case.
Yeah, that's true.
As soon as you see those lights, that's what starts
Man.
going through your mind automatically. And I know a good friend of mine, Sonny Kelly, he has a one-man stage play that he does that is called The Talk. Because people of color, they have to have this conversation with
Yes.
their children.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
that's so true.
and there are others that don't have to have this conversation.
Yes.
So, it's the season where you have to get uncomfortable, be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That's right.
And have the conversation if you want to see any kind of change, because the change just can't come from people of color.
That's true.
you
Very
know?
true. That is.
So yeah, man.
Very true.
Man, so definitely keep us
I'll
abreast
keep you
of what's
abreast.
going on.
I
you
will.
know, and also on a lighter note, you know, he is also a you know, recording artist. I just wanted to put that in there. I would be remiss if I didn't put that out there. That you know, not only is he a physician, but he's also a recording artist, R&B artist, and you have a new single that's currently out as well too that you're promoting.
It is actually. It's nationwide in rotation on radio. It's titled Friday. So
it's a good day of the week.
It's a good day of the week. It's a good day of the week.
Yes, it is definitely so.
So I'm glad you plugged that in.
I actually watched the video too. You're doing a lot of running, man, just to get to where you had to get to.
That's
man,
right.
To get to the studio. It's taking you a while to get there.
That's true.
It's like bus, plane, train, everything.
That's right.
It's like, man.
Yeah.
And also, I would also be remiss. You have to let people know that you are a former NBA professional athlete as well.
Yeah, I was actually over at the Indiana Pacers camp, and then from there to the CBA League, Youngstown, Ohio's team, the Pride.
Okay.
That's like a lifetime ago, but yes. And
Yeah.
now in spare time, which is very far few and in between, I coach the sports. So.
Okay, nice. So you're giving back to the young people.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I have the Fayetteville Bulls and the All-Star Bulls, 17,
Okay.
18-year-olds.
All right,
Fayetteville.
nice.
My way of putting back.
So
One of my ways.
Is the jumper still hot?
Oh,
Or as the kids would say, is it still wet?
I'm still lights out, so it's
Lights
still
out?
wet.
Okay,
That's
all
right.
right. Just
I'm
checking,
still
just
lights
checking.
out. I don't have the lift anymore.
Oh,
I'm not dunking basketball.
Oh, yeah, I
anymore.
understand that. I understand the age that we are currently at. Yes, we understand that. That's one of the first things that goes is your leaping ability.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. And by the way, Tonya, I don't know if I made mention, today's show is actually episode 55. Did you know that?
Oh, and that is significant
Because it's RayThomas.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
All right.
RayThomas
And
at
he
55.
and he
I'm
just
a double nickel.
celebrated his 55th,
That's
his
right.
double nickel.
Yes,
All
indeed.
right.
Yes, indeed.
Nice,
The double
nice.
nickel. 5-5, y'all. Yes, big shout outs to my partner, Willie McGinnis, former defensive player for the New England Patriots as well, too.
Nice,
So 55
nice.
was his number that he rocked. Willie McGinnis. Willie Mack. Shameless plug. Yes, indeed. All right, told these interns they were going to learn something today. Y'all learn something today?
Yeah, I did not know you were 55.
Oh.
I didn't know. Oh,
Wow. Out of everything, it's my age that comes to question. Okay. Gee, thank you, Kiara. I appreciate that. Yes, indeed. You get a ding. Kudo ding for that one. It's like, man. All right. So Greg, you will definitely keep us abreast
I will indeed.
of what's happening. And
Yes, I will.
So we'll definitely stay in touch as well too, and look forward to hearing some of Greg's music on the platform as well too. So next time you come back, hopefully it'll be on a lighter topic in regards to your music. And
May I plug in my website?
of course, I mean,
So
this is your
for all your
opportunity.
listeners, hit GregoryForLove.com. So it's one word, Gregory, FORLOVE.com, GregoryForLove.com.
Okay.
And the single on radio is titled Friday.
Friday.
And we're working on
Yes,
the fourth album now, so
yeah, so
that'll be fun when we're finished.
you're in the vein of a Kenny Lattimore. You one of them love talk man, huh?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the ladies.
Yeah.
He don't sing for the fellas. He sings for the ladies. Yes, indeed. Gregory talking about love. Now, also, you have your own television show as well, too,
Yeah.
right?
Actually, we're out of the rotation at the moment, but the title of my music show is The Love Zone.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that, of course, on YouTube as well. And then my medicine show is titled Medical Jargon.
Okay.
And that's also, people can see that
All right.
on YouTube as well.
Yeah, so you are the doctor of love.
I've heard that a lot of
Dr.
times.
Love. Let me prescribe you a prescription. Yes, indeed. LOVE, girl. All right. Well, Greg, thank you, man. Appreciate having you on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much.
So,
Yes.
so Tonya, are we going to have time for news now, or?
I don't think we are, but if
like, I gotta go. I got things to do. I mean, you let me
the
know
last part of the show.
if we don't. I mean, let me know. You drive the direction. I'm there with you.
Yeah, I'm just going to go right into the More Than Our Skin and Power Play preview because we are, as we say, a little heavy today. A little heavy.
Yeah. Okay.
Got to trim the fat a little bit. So,
Trim the fat.
I just
It's
want
been a
to
while
announce
since I've heard that
Yeah,
saying.
trim the
Business
fat. I'm like, who
school.
you calling fat, Tonya? Who you calling fat? You gonna trim my fat?
I was talking to myself.
Oh yeah, whatever. You know, and the funny thing, the funny thing about that is as you speak about trimming the fat, because we were actually supposed to be exercising during the month of RayTober as well. You and I were supposed to launch that at the beginning of the month, but we never got to it because life happens.
Well, we still can.
Yes, we can. We can and we will.
Let's announce it next week, and we'll do it through the end of the year.
Okay. All right. Okay. So
All right.
so now you want
to have a nice New Year's.
you want to
Eve
talk about
surprise.
what's on the screen currently, More Than Our Skin. Yes, indeed. So let's get into it.
Yeah. So this October 1st, the beginning of RayTober, the production staff and advisory board to the More Than Our Skin documentary launched our More Than Our Skin raffle. It's an exciting raffle, and we have a clip that tells you a little bit more about the amazing prizes that you can win during this raffle season. Hi, I'm ToniaMagras, producer and director of the upcoming documentary film More Than Our Skin, a film telling the stories of 5 incredible women living with the autoimmune disease vitiligo. I'm excited to share the kickoff of our raffle event now through November 30th. We have 4 great giveaways to offer, with all proceeds going to the production of this film. For more information on the contest, the prizes, and the film, please visit us at morethanourskin.org. Great prizes, all for a great cause. You don't want to miss this, and thank you for your support.
Bad, y'all. My bad. Oh, you can hear us now. My bad. I'm so sorry. We're gonna go back around the room.
The intern, Kiara West.
The intern, Ebony Lawson.
The intern, Sherelle Anderson.
And your turn, Tonya.
And the producer, director, filmmaker, documentarian
and co-host.